had no idea until very recently that the medical community has to officially indicate what acts can be classified as an addiction. I just found this out because I saw a video from the early days of social media after Facebook was just becoming big. They indicated that the medical community has not classified social media as an addiction. This I find to be so interesting, that you can't be treated for an addiction unless they classify it as one, which then allows the government or these governing bodies to determine what is a serious enough problem to be considered an addiction. I've made plenty of videos where I've indicated that there are a number of different things that we don't technically consider addictive acts, but they ultimately are. I guess it has to hurt you before they consider it. This is the problem with the definition of with addiction these days. Technically, an addiction is anything that you do to bring you joy, to make you feel better, to avoid dealing with something else. You become reliant on it. You can be addicted to going to the gym. You can be addicted to working out. And I know I'll probably get comments about how working out is good for you, but there is such thing as overworking yourself. There are many cases where people have worked themselves out to exhaustion. I'm talking about people who experience a negative feeling in the same way that a drug addict would experience a negative feeling, who then immediately resort to working out to avoid dealing with that feeling, rather than to put in the work to strengthen their mental health. Just because you're working on your physical health and it brings a good feeling doesn't mean that you've done the right thing. You haven't dealt with the mental issue that's bringing that feeling towards you. And this is what often leads people to seek out worse habits. Because if you constantly rely on the gym to make you feel better, just like anything, the more you do it, the less of an effect it will have. And if you do it too frequently without proper rest or proper care, you can seriously hurt yourself. If this offends you to hear, because you like to go to the gym and it makes you feel better, as long as you're doing it healthy, in a healthy manner, and you're not exhausting yourself or putting yourself in danger by doing too much, I'm not talking about you, but it proves the point. You can't just deal with your physical and expect everything to be okay. Working out is a way to spike your dopamine levels in the same way that a drug addict, a gambling addict, or a sex addict seeks out those actions to spike their dopamine levels. And you could say, well, at least that's healthy. At least that's a healthy way to do it. It's not always. And a lot of people in today's society treat addiction A lot of people in today's society treat addiction by replacing it with another form of addiction. See, it's like, that's why I really do not agree with people who might be suffering from alcohol, drug, sex, gambling addictions to simply replace it with going to the gym. That doesn't solve anything. You actually might be at risk for more danger, especially if you can't make it to the gym one day, or you just don't feel up to go. What are you gonna do? You're gonna fall down the rabbit hole of what once worked for you. The only way to cure addiction is to deal with the mental health issues that brings the feelings forward. It's the same thing that applies to people who have OCD tendencies, ADHD tendencies, or autism tendencies, and I'm talking about the people who haven't been formally diagnosed. There might be a case for people, for even those people who have been. It's funny because people will admit government makes this shit up and the medical industry is corrupt, but when it gives them an excuse to act a certain way, we'll jump on it. I have all the tendencies of someone who suffers from OCD, ADHD, or autism, but I don't treat this as an excuse for me to act a certain way. I treat it as knowledge that I can now apply to allow me to work on myself and get better. See, most medications are not introducing new things to your body. You might have insufficiencies of certain aspects that the medication helps produce more of, but we are capable of producing these things in our bodies. If I tell people that I've struggled with these symptoms, but I was able to get over them, and this is how I did it, people would rather criticize me and tell me why it's different for them rather than try to see if they can get better. They have already accepted their fate. They wipe their hands with it and say, no, you don't know, it's different for me. The amount of people who will say it's different for me, but will tell someone else that they can do it, it's quite spectacular, and it goes to show how little faith we have in ourselves. Look, when I say these things, that's me putting confidence in other people, saying you can do more. If you want to fight me on that, that's you telling yourself that you can't, that you are not capable. So you could fight me all you want. It doesn't hurt my feelings for you to tell me that you're not capable of something. You're just putting it out into the world saying you can't do it. I'm telling you, you can. I'm on your team. I'm your cheerleader. You seem to be your own opponent. So if you ask me if you can do it, I'm going to say, yes, you can. If you don't believe it, you don't need to tell me. If you don't believe it, you don't need to let me know that you can't. Because all you're doing, I'd rather you not, because all you're doing is telling yourself that you can't.